Worth It Wednesday. Every Wednesday we send a principle worth learning, a question worth answering, and a recommendation worth taking. If you want to receive the written content associated with this email, you can sign up for that at pathforgood.com. It's called Worth It Wednesday. And today's principle is that the desire to be liked often competes with the desire to be effective. And I think it's worthwhile in unpacking this principle to understand what the word effective actually means, because so often we use the word effective so much that we confuse it with the word good. And effective does mean good, but it also means so much more than just, oh, that's good, or that person is good, or that decision was good. Because for something or someone to be effective, what does that mean? It means that it created a lasting and meaningful effect. I think this is really relevant to the work that we get to do and the people that we get to work with at Path for Growth, because we always say we are and work with impact-driven leaders, people that view their work, their business, and ultimately their life as an opportunity to make an impact, to make a difference in the lives of others. And so it's in that context, well, what do you have to focus on in order to make a lasting long-term impact? Sustained effectiveness. You've got to be the type of person that is obsessed with not just doing what's efficient, with not just doing what's convenient or what's popular, but rather what is the lasting and meaningful effect that my time, my energy, my manpower, my words, my actions are investing in, so that in long term we will all reap a lasting impact. And so it's in that context that we need to recognize that oftentimes, I've seen this for myself and I've seen this for others, the greatest blocker, the greatest enemy, the greatest thing standing opposed to your desire to be effective, because I do believe that you desire this, is your desire to be liked. And just recognize that sustained effectiveness demands one very important thing from a leader: a commitment to making decisions. And without a shadow of a doubt, I know this to be true, that if you are committed to actually making decisions, there are going to be times where you are disliked and where the decisions that you make aren't popular, where they're not convenient. There may even be times when you make decisions that are wrong, and wrong decisions aren't very popular. But you know what? All of that is the price and the cost of moving forward. And so the thing that's so important for us to understand is you kind of have two options. You're going to move forward or you're going to move backwards. Because make no mistake, the world is moving forward. So if you sit still, you're opting in for moving backwards because the world is passing you up. And so with that, if we are going to move forward, what is part of moving forward? Well, anytime you move anything forward, what does it create? It creates friction. And if you as a leader are unable to deal with and hold and manage friction with other people, then you'll never be able to move forward. And by extension or implicitly, you will be moving backwards. And so it's really healthy to set our expectations of, as a leader, part of my role is to make decisions, and decisions move us forward, and forward motion always creates friction. And therefore, if my expectation is to be liked all the time, then I'm sacrificing effectiveness. Much rather, I would rather anticipate that friction is not good or bad. Friction just is. It's the way that I and the people around me respond to the friction that will ultimately make the difference in my ability to be effective and practice healthy growth. Now, one thing I want to say on this principle before we close this out. Sometimes people take this like, oh, my desire to be liked competes with my desire to be effective, and they use it as an excuse to be a jerk. and I just, this is not an excuse to be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. That's a good leadership principle, right? And so this is actually a separate principle, kind of tangentially related, that we'll probably focus on in a future Worth It Wednesday. You can't cater to people's feelings and opinions, but you should probably consider them. As a leader, it's not helpful for you to be divorced from how things affect other people, because the whole reason why you're in this is people. And so you can't just be a jerk doing whatever you want and say, I'm just focused on being effective, because it turns out that's actually ineffective. But you also can't just submit and make pleasing people's temporal sensibilities your highest priority. And that's where, for you as a leader, you have to have wisdom. And this is where I think a lot of leadership content today lacks nuance and lacks a sense of in touchness with reality. Because it's going to demand a lot of wisdom from you to know, okay, what are the hills that I need to stand and the decisions that I need to make regardless of how likable they are? And where are the other times that, man, I may need to slow down or pump the brakes or spend more time or invest more energy or look in the mirror in order to deal with the way that this is affecting other people. But overarching, the principle for today is that the desire to be liked often competes with the desire to be effective. Y'all have a killer Wednesday. Let's go, let's go, let's go.